My stepmother's double life shattered everything. March 14, 8:42 p.m. Plano, Texas. I never thought a single phone call could dismantle 15 years of my life. My name is Victor, I'm 44, and I live in a modest brick house on the east side of Plano with my wife, Laura, and her mother, my stepmother, Evelyn. She moved in after my father passed away, and at first, she seemed like a blessing. Warm meals, polite conversation, the kind of person you'd trust with your worst secrets. But that evening, I caught her staring at me from the kitchen doorway. The way her eyes lingered, cold and calculating, made me shiver. "I need to talk to you, Victor," she said softly. Her tone wasn't alarming, it was almost inviting. I followed her into the dimly lit kitchen. The smell of coffee mixed with the faint hint of expensive perfume made my head spin. "You've been careless," she said. "With a bank account." My heart skipped. "Careless? I manage our finances down to the last dollar." "What do you mean?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Evelyn slid a manila envelope across the counter. "Look for yourself." Inside were statements, withdrawals I never made, transfers to shell companies, sums totaling over $150,000. My blood ran cold. I don't understand," I stammered. This can't be right." Her lips curled into a faint, knowing smile. "Maybe it's not, or maybe you've been blind for too long." I wanted to laugh, but the lump in my throat stopped me. I had always trusted her. She had helped raise Laura, handled my father's funeral arrangements, even volunteered to organize my daughter's birthday parties. How could someone so close orchestrate something like this? Then, before I could ask another question, she whispered, "You've hurt someone you love, Victor, and people like me, we notice, we plan, we wait." Her words, calm yet menacing, pressed on my chest like a vice. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. I realized, with a sudden, sickening certainty, that the person I had trusted the most, the one who claimed to care about family, was plotting something far worse than theft. She wasn't just after money. She was after revenge. The kitchen light flickered as I stared at her, unsure whether to confront her or run. And in that moment, I understood everything I thought I knew about Evelyn was a lie. And if I wanted to survive what was coming, I needed to discover why. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "She's not who she says she is. Meet me at Plano Library, 9 p.m. Come alone." I froze. Who could know what I just discovered? And more importantly, could I trust them? March 14, 8:15, 9 p.m. Plano Library. The library parking lot was nearly empty, the late night streetlights casting long, eerie shadows across the asphalt. My hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel. The text had said come alone, but my mind screamed that this was some kind of trap. Evelyn's calm menace replayed in my head. We notice. We plan. We wait. I spotted a figure leaning against a lamppost near the entrance. A man, mid-30s, sharp suit, dark hair combed back. He glanced at me once, then disappeared inside. Hesitation gnawed at me, but I had to know. Inside, the library was quiet, the fluorescent lights humming softly. I followed the man into the history section. "You Victor?" he asked, voice low, urgent. "Yes," I said. "Who are you?" He glanced over his shoulder. "Name's Marcus. I used to work for Evelyn, corporate side. Accounting, audits, things she didn't want anyone to see." My stomach sank. "You mean those transfers? The money in the shell accounts?" "Exactly," he said. $150,000 isn't just money to her, it's leverage, and it's not the first time she's done something like this. She's careful, but she's reckless too. She's been building a secret life for years. "What do you mean?" I asked, feeling a cold dread settle over me. Marcus leaned closer, his eyes sharp. "Evelyn isn't just your stepmother. She's not even from Plano originally. She had a different name, a different life, one that ended in betrayal, and now she's here, in your family, plotting revenge. She's been planning this for you." I blinked, my mind spinning. "Planning for me? What? Why?" Marcus hesitated. "Your father, he made a mistake years ago, one she never forgave. She's been patient, watching, waiting for the perfect moment to settle the score, and right now, she's using your money, your trust, your family, all of it, as part of her plan." I felt my legs weaken. I sat on a nearby chair, running my hands through my hair. "My wife, Laura, my daughter, Emily, were they in danger?" Before I could ask more, Marcus whispered, "Tonight, she's not alone. She has help. Someone inside your own house is assisting her. Someone you already trust." My heart skipped. I tried to swallow, but no sound came out. My mind raced through every face, every smile, every shared dinner. Could Evelyn have recruited someone in my own family? "I have proof," Marcus said, sliding a USB drive across the table. "This is everything. Emails, transactions, plans. Look at it, but be careful. If she finds out you know, she'll move faster than you can imagine." I picked up the drive, my hand trembling. The hum of the library lights seemed deafening, the quiet around us almost suffocating. As I turned to leave, I noticed a faint shadow behind the stacks. Someone had been watching us, and in that instant a thought struck me like a lightning bolt. Evelyn already knew I was here, and she was waiting. Nay, she wasn't just planning revenge, she was enjoying it. From the hallway, I heard footsteps. Laura's voice. Victor, are you home? My pulse spiked. I had to act fast. I whispered under my breath, not yet. I backed into the shadows and spotted a folder on the counter labelled Evelyn's files. I snatched it, flipping through the documents quickly. Bank transfers, signed checks, property deeds all traced to shell companies registered under her other name, Selene Marlowe. My blood ran cold. She'd been living a double life for over a decade. Footsteps behind me. I turned sharply. Laura stood there, holding her phone. Victor, what's going on? Before I could answer, Evelyn appeared from the kitchen, her expression a mix of annoyance and triumph. Oh, you're finally home, she said sweetly. I was wondering when you'd figure it out. What is this, Evelyn? What is all this? I demanded, holding up the folder. She smiled, tilting her head. It's called justice. Your father wronged me. He humiliated me, abandoned me when I needed him most, and now I'm making sure you feel the consequences of his mistakes. You've been a perfect little pawn, Victor, but the game ends soon. Laura stepped forward, confused and frightened. Mama, what are you talking about? Evelyn's eyes narrowed. Your precious father's legacy is what it seems, dear, and soon, Victor, the last secret will come out. Everything you thought was safe, gone, all of it. I backed away, heart racing, as she advanced. My mind screamed. How could she have orchestrated all of this? Who else was involved? Then I noticed the kitchen floor wet footprints leading to the back door. Someone had been here before me. Someone she trusted. And a cold realization hit me. The betrayal was closer than I imagined. I wasn't just fighting Evelyn. I was fighting a traitor in my own home. March 15, 12:18 a.m. Victor's study. Sleep was impossible. I sat at my desk, laptop open, the glow illuminating my tired, pale face. The folder from Evelyn lay beside me, its secrets heavy in my hands. I needed answers and I needed proof. I plugged in Marcus's USB drive. Files, emails, scanned documents, everything meticulously labelled. And then I found it, a series of messages between Evelyn and someone named R.J. The content made my stomach twist. He trusts me completely, transfers tomorrow, make sure it's smooth. R.J. was no stranger. I scrolled down. The name, the handwriting, it was my brother-in-law, Greg. Laura's older brother. He had been working with Evelyn this entire time. I sank into my chair, mind spinning. Greg? Laura's brother. I had trusted him for years, shared birthdays, barbecues, even vacation plans. And all along, he was complicit in draining our accounts, manipulating our home, lying to my face. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check the surveillance cammed. She's planning something tonight. I bolted to the security system in the living room. Cameras covered the front door, backyard, and garage. Evelyn was moving through the house with an almost predatory precision. Every step calculated, every glance intentional. And then I saw Greg outside, crouched near the side gate, phone in hand. He signaled her hand gestures I recognized from the emails. They were coordinating in real time. My heart pounded. Betrayal wasn't just financial anymore. It was personal. They were setting a trap. I needed a plan. I couldn't confront them head on, at least not yet. I had to collect enough evidence to expose them both, and fast. Then the screen flickered. A shadow passed across the front door camera. Someone was approaching someone I didn't recognize. Before I could react, my phone rang. The caller ID read Evelyn. I answered cautiously. What do you want? Her voice was calm, almost maternal. Victor, I see you found out about Greg. That's unfortunate, but you should know something. Tonight, everything changes, and by morning you might not have a home, a family, or a penny to your name. The choice is yours. Walk into my trap, or disappear before it's too late. The line went dead. I sat back, part hammering, staring at the security feed. Greg, Evelyn, the unknown figure outside. My home, my family, my life, they were all pieces in a game I hadn't agreed to play. And suddenly, I understood. The only way to survive, the only way to protect Laura and Emily, was to turn their own scheme against them. But how could I outsmart someone who had been planning revenge for over a decade? Then I noticed the basement door slightly ajar. March 15, 12:45 a.m. Victor's basement. I crept down the narrow stairs, each creak sounding like a gunshot in the silent house. A faint hum of the dehumidifier mingled with the cold draft from the slightly open basement window. My pulse thudded in my ears. Inside, the basement was cluttered with old furniture, cardboard boxes, and the smell of damp wood. I had adjusted, and that's when I saw it, a laptop set up on a folding table, live feed from every room in the house. Evelyn had been monitoring us all along. And then I noticed Greg. He was crouched behind the furnace, headphones on, whispering into a mic. Yes, she's moving toward the office now. Step 2 was in motion. Step 2. My stomach churned. What could be worse than draining $150,000? I realized then that the basement wasn't just a surveillance hub. It was also the command center for their plan to what exactly? Take the house. Embarrass me? Or something more sinister? I grabbed my phone and dialed Marcus. My hand shook. Victor, he hissed into the line, You found the feeds. Good. Now listen carefully. They're planning to use those videos to manipulate your wife and daughter, convince them you're unstable. Maybe even dangerous. They want everything. I sank against the wall. How do I stop them? Marcus's voice was sharp. You have to bait them, let them think they're in control, but you record everything. If you expose them at the right moment, they'll have no escape. They won't see it coming. I nodded, though no one could see me. And Greg, he's family. How did he get involved? Marcus's tone darkened. Greed, fear, or maybe loyalty to even sometimes family allegiance is trusted. Either way, he's dangerous. Don't underestimate him. I wiped sweat from my brow. My heart ached, knowing Laura's brother had betrayed her trust to our trust. Suddenly, the basement lights flickered. Evelyn's voice called down the stairs, calm and haunting. Victor, I know you're down there. Come out, or this ends badly. I froze. She had found me. My mind raced. If I stepped into the open, it could trigger the trap. The staying hidden meant waiting, and I didn't know how long I could hold my nerve. Then, a soft click echoed from the basement window. I glanced up. A shadow loomed outside, moving closer to the door. My chest tightened. In that moment, it hit me. Evelyn and Greg weren't just after money. They were trying to destroy my family emotionally. And if I didn't act, they would succeed. I gritted my teeth. The only way forward was to turn their own plan against them. But could I do it before they struck? The shadow moved closer, and I realized it wasn't Greg. It was someone else. Someone I didn't expect. And suddenly, the house felt colder, darker, and more dangerous than ever. March 15, 1:07 a.m. Victor's basement/living room. The figure at the basement window froze for a second, and slipped inside silently. I held my breath. My hand instinctively went to the baseball bat leaning against the wall. Victor, a familiar voice whispered, trembling but determined. It's me, Emily. My daughter. My heart stopped. I hadn't heard her come home from a sleepover. How had she gotten here without anyone noticing? My mind raced. Evelyn and Greg could use her as leverage. Emily, get down, quickly. I hissed, pulling her into the shadows. Did anyone see you come in? No, she said, eyes wide, but I saw Aunt Evelyn and Uncle Greg talking. They're planning something. They're taking everything. Mom doesn't know. I felt a mix of relief and panic. Relief that she was safe. Panic that the house was crawling with conspirators. Good girl. Now listen, you have to stay quiet. Do exactly as I say. Can you do that? She nodded, gripping my hand. I turned my attention back to the basement laptop. The live feed showed Evelyn in the living room, pacing with her phone in hand, talking to Greg. She has no idea we know, I whispered to Emily. But we're going to make them think they're in control. Just like Marcus said, we bait them and then expose everything. We moved quickly. I set up my phone to record the basement feeds while simultaneously capturing audio from the living room. Every whispered plan, every sinister laugh, everything would be documented. Minutes later, Evelyn's voice echoed through the house, a mixture of irritation and false sweetness. Victor, you're being quiet, too quiet, come out. I stayed hidden, heart hammering. Greg appeared behind her, smirking. She's probably scared. Let's give her a little nudge. Emily whispered, Dad, they're going to the office. That's where the safe is. The safe. My heart sank. Evelyn's signature revenge wouldn't just hit the bank accounts, it would strip me of tangible proof, heirlooms, and family records. I clenched my fists. Not if we act first, I muttered. I grabbed the laptop, phone in one hand, and crept silently toward the office. I could hear Evelyn counting, Greg's footsteps coordinating. Every second felt like an eternity. I slipped into the office doorway. The safe was open. Papers and cash were spread across the desk. Evelyn's bat was to me perfect. Now, I whispered to Emily. She pressed the record button on my phone. And just as I was about to confront them, Greg spun around, smirking. Well, look who finally decided to join the party. Evelyn froze. Then, slowly, she turned toward us. And in that moment, I realized that her confidence was about to crumble in the most shocking way possible. March 15, 1:15 a.m. Victor's office. Greg's smirk faltered as I stepped fully into the office, laptop in one hand, phone in the other. Evelyn's eyes narrowed, suspicion flickering across her face. You really thought I wouldn't see through it? I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through me. The transfers, the shell accounts, the surveillance, everything. Her lips twitched. You have proof? I pressed play on my phone. Evelyn and Greg's whispered plans filled the room, every detail, every lie, every betrayal. Their faces went pale as they realized the recordings weren't just evidence, they were their undoing. Emily peeked from behind me, holding up my phone. Dad, look, everything they said there, confessing to each other. Greg tried to snatch the phone, but I moved faster, stepping in front of him. Too late, this goes straight to Laura and the police. Your perfect little revenge ends tonight. Evelyn's expression shifted from fury to desperation. Victor, you daren't understand. I did this for justice. Your father, he ruined my life. And you almost ruined mine. I shot back, voice shaking with a mix of anger and relief. You underestimated me. You underestimated my family. Greg stepped back, defeated, realizing their plan had completely collapsed. Victor, please, it wasn't supposed to go this far. I shook my head. Far enough. Justice isn't about what you feel you deserve, it's about consequences. And you too, my stepmother, my brother-in-law tried to destroy my family. That ends now. I called Laura immediately. Within minutes, she arrived with police in tow. They took Evelyn and Greg into custody, cataloguing evidence from the safe, the accounts, and the recordings. Emily clung to me, whispering, "We did it, Dad." As the sun began to rise over Plano, I finally felt the weight lift. Evelyn and Greg's double lives, their betrayal, their carefully plotted revenge, it was all exposed. And justice, long delayed, had finally arrived. Later, as I sat with Laura and Emily, sipping coffee in the quiet kitchen, I realized something profound. Betrayal can cut deep, but courage, patience, and the truth always have the power to prevail. Evelyn would face the consequences of her decade-long plan. Greg too. And for the first time in weeks, the house felt like home again, safe, secure, and finally ours. Justice had been served. Revenge had been turned back on its architects. And I, Victor, had survived and protected the family I loved most. The nightmare was over, but the scars remained. And from that night on, I knew one thing for certain. Trust, once broken, can never be blind again.